Gonzalez said was extremely racist and is extremely wrong.
I'm sorry, as a Mexican American, it's crazy how it's still racism in this world. And I just want to say, she doesn't represent me or the Hispanic community.
I stand with her because she was not lying. Now, you feel offended for the truth. That's a personal problem. But she was not lying about anything. What happened? Us Latinos, we cannot speak our minds and say what we think when everything that she say is something that you guys repeat all the time.
Just how a lot of Latinos feel about black people.
She is a part of us. A lot of y'all do the same things behind closed doors.
She does represent a lot of the colorism that exists within our community and that is not talked about.
As someone who grew up in the Bay Area and is very familiar with the Hispanic community, Ashley Gonzalez is very on the money for the representation of the Latino and Hispanic community.
It makes me so sad that there's people that still exist like that, and people, Latinas like her, that make all of us look bad, and it sucks. And because the truth is, she does represent Latinos. She is Latina, and just because she said something that we don't agree with, that we all know is wrong, that doesn't align with where we want to be in the world, it doesn't take away that she's Latina. She gained those thoughts from other Latinos that were around her, and we need to stop being blind to the fact that our Latino culture has a lot of racist tendencies in it. We are extremely colorist. We have all, like, I myself have grown up with this idea that being a darker skin tone is bad. We grow up, like, literally praising babies that come out white looking or having Eurocentric features. Like, we cannot be blind to these things.
Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Candy. So guys, today's episode, when I first watched this video, what stood out to me was just the music. It was the message behind the scene. The central video is built around a powerful idea: how people respond when life gets difficult. Instead of showing fear, pity, and hopeless during a massive storm, the community comes together and choose unity and celebrates it. That alone makes this video different from other method of music video. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'll be back for your commentaries. Bye bye.
Here in the United States, we associate blackness with coolness, and a lot of Latinos that are not black, because there is black Latinos, but there's a lot of non-black Latinos and non-black Hispanic people that try to be a part of black culture and black community without actually liking black people. I think this actually comes from being in a system here in the United States that only recognizes black and white. Okay, we don't ever really recognize Latino people or Hispanic people. Therefore, we're left with so many questions about who we actually are, what we represent. We're left with so much ambiguity on what being Latino or being Hispanic actually is, because it's not a race. My family specifically is multicultural, multiracial. I grew up being very confused about my identity, I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of the problems I had came from the Latino community. The colorism, the racism, the, even just the classism in the Latino community is crazy. We often forget that black Latinos even exist. And some of us have family members or friends who are black Latinos and deny their African ancestry. Again, I understand that not all Latinos and Hispanics are racist, but let's look at the stats. Let's look at the data. All the people that voted for Trump this year, a majority, it was overwhelmingly Latino people that voted for Trump. And if you're Latino and you're trying to deny any of this, I never grew up with that, I really want you to think about things you might have been told as a child. If you had the nickname güerita or morenita or negrita, I really want you to think of why the Latino community obsesses so much over skin color. Why does it matter if you're morenita or morenita clara or negrita? Why does it matter? I think we all need a question too, like why so many tios, tias, abuelos would tell us shit like, oh, don't go outside for too long, you don't want to be black, right? Oh, you shouldn't date black guys, you're too pretty for it, N-word, hard R. I need you guys to please stop acting oblivious. Like, stop acting like this is not a real problem in our community.
There is no denying that, respective to the history in Latino America, there has been a history of anti-blackness, and you can look at respective nations, whether it's Mexico, Argentina, look at the caste systems that were created, and it was descendants of Africans, black people, that were always at the bottom of the social class. Those social classes were organized by this pseudoscience of a racialized hierarchy, And part of that is because the Latino identity, it's inherently anti-Black and it's anti-Indigenous. It is an identity that is built on the erasure of those two groups and saying things like, oh, well, I don't claim them. Like, I'm very happy that you're not like that. However, I believe that you cannot accept an identity like the Latino identity without acknowledging both the good and the bad. And a lot of that bad is this normalized anti-Blackness that we see across all countries in Latin America. And these are ideas that have influenced the culture, which is why you also have ideas like Mejorando la Raza. Something that I've been saying is that anti-Blackness and Latinos aiming for whiteness is not something new to Latinos here in the US. It is also an idea that they bring with them when they come here to the US, because if you look at the history of the respective Latino country, you're gonna find that there has been a history of anti-Blackness, and it happens to get reinforced here in the US. So instead of saying, well, I don't claim them, I think it's very important to call that person out or call them in, because you cannot begin to deconstruct the Latino identity without accepting that there is inherent in it anti-Blackness. But go ahead and let me know what you think.
We are in 2026. Who gives a shit if you used to be a slave? That's nobody's problem, not even yours. If your ancestors was this or that, Spanish, Latin people, ancestors, we also been a slave. We've been taken out of our lands, and we fight too. You're not special. You're not better than nobody else. Don't be a fucking hypocrite, all right? I stand with Gonzalez, and she don't deserve to lose her job or nothing, because people are weaponizing something they use every day, but nobody else can use it.
They say nothing to me by Ashley Gonzalez, because remember, y'all said they could say it. Remember? It's Black and Brown unity. Right. And she unified both words, the E-R and the A. She said them both together. They can hold hands. And she said it how she been saying it. At home, in the office, at the table with her abuela. She said it how she been saying it. Right. The unity. U-N-I-T-Y. Because y'all be letting shit slide. See, me, I don't let nothing slide. This ain't no ice skating rink. But y'all be easy out there. And remember, it's just words when it's us. But when it's other people, I'm going to see if you can sit at the table with their mom and say a few choice words. I'll write something down for you. I bet you can't say them. I bet you can't. Because it's just words when it's us. But when it's everybody else, words matter. Right. I'm just saying. Hey, y'all be easy.
Ashley Gonzalez is an exact representation of the Latino community. They're being taught that in their household. And I live in Miami amongst the Cubans, the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, where we get this type of energy on a day-to-day basis. Like what have we done as a collective to make every race on the planet hate us? I want to know. Please, can y'all get in the comments? I'm talking about white, Hispanics, Chinese, Indian, whatever race you are. Please get in the comments and tell us, what have Black people done that makes y'all hate us so much? I really would like to know. I would genuinely love to know. Even though I'm a Black that minds my business, like majority of Black people do, we mind our business. But for this particular reason, I'm not minding my business. I want to know. I really want to know.
Have you noticed that the overwhelming majority of people speaking out against this are African American? Where are all my Hispanic and Latino people at? For some reason, as a whole, we seem to be oddly quiet about it. Could it be that the person in the hot seat looks a little bit like you and me? Is that why in your silence you're trying to distance yourself from it? Or could it be that maybe, just maybe, you feel as though if you speak out on it, you will be seen as just another inward lover? Oh, the shit just got real, didn't it? Now, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. This racist individual was in a position of power, in a position of authority over the very people she had animosity towards. Now, let me talk to you from experience. You see these scars here? These scars were given to me in 1985 by a racist police officer who, while stomping on my head and beating me unconscious, kicking teeth out of my mouth, told me before I lost consciousness that a Mexican ain't nothing but a light complected N-word. So you see, I have a little experience with this issue. That experience has left a chip on my shoulder with regards to this issue. See, what you need to understand is that to these folks, the difference between a Mexican and an African American is the difference between 1-ply and 2-ply toilet paper. You might prefer one over the other. You might think one is better than the other. But at the end of the day, if push comes to shove, these folks are simply going to wipe their ass with the both of you. Now, I know race is sometimes a factor, but stop making it solely about race and start making it about principle. Now, I said all that to say this. A righteous person will stand up against unrighteous acts, regardless of who those acts affect. A just person will stand up against injustice, regardless of whether or not that injustice affects them particularly. It's that simple. Now, maybe I'm just old school because I come from a different generation. But coming from that generation, I'm just here to say this. Your silence on this issue speaks volumes. Your silence says more about you than words ever could.
Ashley Gonzalez is a representation of the Latino community. If you don't agree with that, then start asking it, because we're over here on comments talking about not me. Okay, then speak it, right? When there's problematic anti-Black people around you, whether that's your family or friends or people around you, say something. You don't. You don't because it's uncomfortable. You don't because you don't want to burn bridges. You don't because you don't want to be disowned. You don't want to rock the boat. And maybe it's because you yourself understand that when someone who you know says something that's anti-Black, it's not really anti-Black because it's meant out of love. When you call a Latino who is much more darker skinned Prieto, Prieta, darky, dark girl, dark boy, that in itself propagates anti-Blackness. I have a sister who was nicknamed Prieta, and they would tell her all the time, even strangers, hey, you're really pretty for a dark-skinned girl, and I'm pretty sure other dark-skinned individuals feel the same when people tell them you're really pretty for a Black girl, for a dark-skinned girl. It's not actually a compliment. When you remind me time and time again, hey, Gael, your hair doesn't really look Mexican. Your hair doesn't really look Latino. Are you sure you're not Black? And the thing is, it's not even said as a matter of fact. It seems like it's said as a dig. The worst type of anti-Blackness is the anti-Blackness that is really marketed as, oh, I'm just really being playful. Like the fact that I'm here in the United States and California means that I shouldn't have to choose between my Mexican culture and my American identity, which means that I shouldn't have to choose between my Mexican community and even, a Black community, right? If it's a Mexican person who is doing something wrong, like Ashley Gonzalez, I shouldn't have to side with Ashley Gonzalez because she's Latina. I had a comment on one of my videos where it said Latinos should stick together. Yes, we should stick together because we're a community, but the thing is, there's so many Latino ICE agents that it means that we can't even stick together because we're always trying to punch down, right? We're always trying to make sure that no one else can succeed but us. And that's not just in anti-Blackness, that's also in prejudice against our own community. And here's the thing, sticking together as a community doesn't mean that we have to exclude other communities. It doesn't mean that it has to come at a sacrifice of Black solidarity. The Latino community succeeding in the United States does not have to equate to the Black community failing in the United States. We can both succeed equally. Like once upon a time, there was a lot of tribal shit, especially in California, especially where I was growing up, South Central Los Angeles. A bunch of tribal fights and shit like that, right? But at the end of the day, if we're all American, and that means that everyone is my tribe, right? Latinos are my community, but also, you know, the black community, the fact that I grew up listening to Art LaBeouf, that's a bunch of oldies right there. That's black influence right there. Why is it that we can consume black culture, yet continue to sacrifice it whenever we vote? And here's the thing, even when we don't do it intentionally, the fact that we think that life is so simple that if black people only didn't do bad things, then the cops wouldn't beat them up, that negates the fact that one shouldn't have their skin tone criminalized. And so many Latinos didn't recognize what this meant until I brought up the fact that imagine you giving in a resume with your last name, which is Spanish speaking, you're going to be judged on your last name, even if you're the lightest skinned person. Because when someone sees you and you have skin privilege, they don't know your name. They don't know that you have some Jose Garcia last name. But if they just see your resume, they will just see Jose Garcia. If they see you and you're black, they're going to judge you on that criminalization of their experience. The same thing when they see Jose Garcia. And now if I see the same thing is happening that Latinos once upon said, if you don't break the law, then they won't go after you. Well, if you don't break the law, then obviously IC won't stop you, yet they're still stopping you even though you're not breaking any laws, because the whole point isn't that you yourself did something wrong, it's that your skin, your name, your accent did something wrong. And that in itself doesn't have to be illegal, but that in itself is plausible deniability, right? Just being black is plausible deniability for a cop to unalive you. And so many Latinos will say, well, we struggle too. Yes, we do. My brother, before I was born, got police brutality by the LAPD 77 division. We grew up in Florence, Vermont. If you're from South LA, you'll know what that means. But you know, worst case scenario was the fact that they retaliated and just raided our house every other week as I was growing up. But he didn't get unalived. If he was black, maybe he would have. The fact that he was Mexican maybe saved him, because they were like, at least like, this boy's a troublemaker, but at least his skin tone tells us that he doesn't have a weapon maybe. But the fact that your skin tone in itself is a weapon worth unaliving you says a lot. It says that it doesn't matter whether you follow the laws or whether you do. It's the fact that your skin tone isn't valued. And that's what we're experiencing now, here in 2026. Our skin tone, our culture, our accent, our language isn't being valued. It's being criminalized, it's being targeted. And now we're truly understanding the fact that you don't have to do anything for the system to want to erase you. So rather than just apologizing, rather than just saying, hey, I'm the exception to the rule, just put in the work. Because obviously, in order for Ashley Gonzalez or whatever her name to exist, there had to be people in the community who didn't check her on it. Because in order for her to be navigating herself through society, truly acting as she does, then there had to be people who laughed with her, who agreed with her, who didn't tell her it was wrong. And maybe you didn't want to rock the boat, maybe you didn't want to burn bridges, but ultimately, silence is complicity, because as exhausting as it is for you to check them, it's even more exhausting to be a black person having to deal with the consequences of these Latinos not being checked by their own community. And as such, we reduce the trust that the black community has in our community, because we're over here allowing for anti-blackness to continue to be propagated. So rather than getting butthurt and trying to fight online about how it's not all of us, they know it's not all of us, but the thing is that how can they judge by anything else than what they experience when they engage with our community? If there is something that the Latino community needs more than anything, it is re-education and critical thinking. Because we truly do not get that. When we've been told by our families, if you just follow the laws, you do good, no one will bother you, that's not really how it is in the United States of America. The American dream is an illusion, is a delusion. The fact that if you just mind your own business, no one will bother you, we realize now that is a lie. Because as long as you're not white, then there will always be a reason for why they want to remove your liberties. And the fact is that if we continue to propagate our chasing after whiteness, then what's going to happen is that we continue to vote against ourselves because you think that you're voting to exclude people who you yourself don't see as equal. But in reality, that which you don't see as equal is your own mirror reflection, because the policies that you say will harm them truly harm all of us. And maybe for you, it's nothing to do with race. It just makes the most sense. But you don't realize that the way that you're positioning your politics is inherently anti-Black. Now Latinos are experiencing what it means to truly walk down the streets and have your skin tone criminalized. Because ultimately, if they read your car license shit and they see a Spanish-speaking last name, they're gonna stop you. Just like if they see you with black skin, they're gonna stop you. You don't gotta do nothing wrong, you just look wrong. And that's what we have to recognize. Because the policies that hurt one will hurt all of us. And that's why when we vote, we can't vote for what benefits ourselves as Latinos. We need to vote for the collective. Vote for the collective.
Hey, on the Ashley Gonzalez Houston police officer thing and why it is definitely more of a reflection of the Latino community than you guys may like for it to be. The issue is when there is anti-Blackness based in stereotypes, those stereotypes don't have merit at large, right? Like people's disgust for Black people is largely built off of a lie that white supremacy taught them. When it's other POCs being anti-Black, they're just believing the stereotypes that aren't real. However, Black people at this moment, specifically in Texas, who feel like this is a reflection of the Latino community, we all just saw the polling results for the election. Literally, the majority of the Latino community voted along with white supremacy. So, is it right to reflect an entire community based off of this person? No. Is that based in some reality that Black people have experienced at the hands of the Latino community over time? Yes. So you can be upset about it, or if it's not you individually as a member of the Latino community, you can understand that and side and ally with the fact that you know this is something that exists from other POCs towards Black Americans. Like, anti-Blackness has actual tangible roots that we can see from other communities all the time. Doesn't mean it's fair, but it doesn't mean it's wrong necessarily, right? So like when people around the world talk about like whiteness and how it represents oppression at large, it's because that is a legitimately historically contextual reality. So unfortunately for the Latino community, no matter how much you dislike it, there's a lot of self-inventory that has to be done. And that's just what it is.
Latinos and our culture has these issues, and you saying, you know what, she doesn't represent all Latinos, she doesn't represent us, is not helping anyone. That is literally just pushing it under the rug and making it not your problem anymore when it is. It is our problem, and more people should be on here being mad about what she did, about her actions. But instead, what I'm seeing is people get defensive over what other people say about Latinos. And that's not right, because at the end of the day, we all suffer. People want to say, well, why do we have to apologize? We didn't do anything. It was just her, and that one person doesn't represent the whole. And although that may be true, her to be able to get on her phone, record a nasty ass video like that, and post it on her close friends. I think, I don't know where the fuck she posted it, if it was close friends or public, but the fact that she felt comfortable posting a nasty ass video like that shows how many other people let her get away with saying things like that. And she's Latina. How is that not fucking clicking? That the people around her, yeah, you may not be racist, but you're still allowing people to make comments like this and allowing them to feel comfortable saying it. And that's not right. And that's a problem that we as Latinos have. We are too fucking passive. And we allow bad people to find comfort in our community. And that is not right. That is not normal. We come back to how we push things under the rug. We ignore things and we pretend like everything's fine. We pretend like we're all this big happy family. That's not true. And we need to stop pretending like we are. For you as a Latino to come on here and say, you know what, she doesn't represent all of us. Not all of us are racist. To me, it just shows that you're not ready to see the truth. You're not ready to have these discussions because you can't even be honest about what's going on in your own community. We have all experienced racist comments, not only towards us, but probably heard it from an older family member, from a friend, from somewhere, people saying the N-word. And what do a lot of us tend to do? Just say it's a joke. We laugh or chuckle. We don't say anything because we're passive. Because we were raised to ignore things. We were raised to shove it under the rug. Ashley Gonzalez is a prime example of what happens when you don't speak up. When you don't say or stop someone from making racist comments, from doing these things that are harming other people.
Unfortunately, Ashley Gonzalez does represent the Hispanic community. I'm getting kind of tired of seeing Hispanic people, Latino people getting into comment sections talking about, no, she doesn't represent us. We love all people. No, if you go to Texas, if you go to California, there are a lot of Hispanic people that love saying that N-word, hard E-R. In growing up in the Hispanic community, amongst Latinos in Texas, I noticed that a lot of them love to turn a blind eye to a lot of things. When it's convenient, they might sit there and be like, oh, we don't stand for that. That isn't a representative of our community, blah, 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 blah. No, Ashley Gonzalez was a woman who was emboldened by her community. She went this long unchecked. A lot of Mexicans, a lot of Latinos don't know the difference between racism and prejudice. Sure, there are many people of color in many communities all over the world who are prejudiced. The systemic racism enacted towards all of us, especially Black Americans in America, in the United States, is something to be said and talked about, especially when many non-Black communities of color love to utilize that proximity to whiteness to inflict oppression upon Black people. Ashley Gonzalez literally got into the police force, and I think from what I saw in that video, she was describing how she was utilizing her position of power to inflict harm on a Black person, right? Unfortunately, when you grow up to be an adult, you represent a lot of things. You represent your parents, you represent your family name, you represent your community, you represent the job you're tied to. You're a representative of something. If those entities, institutions, family units let you go that long with that behavior to where it then got publicized, that is a representative of all those entities, those communities, those institutions. It is a failing on all of those things. I'm so sick of so many non-Black communities of color, even, I'm sure, even in the Black community. There's a lot of colorism. There's a lot of behaviors that everybody just sees, many vile things that are said behind closed doors and nobody checks it. The influential people don't check it. The leaders of the communities don't check it. They'll sit there and go, well, nobody that those horrid statements are made about are here, so we're just not gonna say anything. Like, I don't need to say anything. It's okay. They're not gonna say that in real life, like in public, they're not. So I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to check it. But then things happen like this. Ashley Gonzalez is a representative of her community because it's her community, our community, that lets these people go unchecked for far too long with their racism. Ashley Gonzalez, a lot of the times, these Hispanic people genuinely believe that acting like this gives them proximity to whiteness. You are never going to be accepted as a white person. You are never going to be welcomed into the white community, into institutions of power. Entities that have power, like the police force, like the military, like certain groups of white people, they literally welcome you in just to use your dumb ass. But too many of y'all genuinely believe that it makes you different than other people within your own community, different than Black people. It doesn't. We are all one. And just because some of you decide to dip your toes, tap into, hell, some of y'all dive deep into oppressive tactics in order to try to differentiate yourself, it doesn't. It's all in vain. And then you enact harm on others while doing it and trying all that shit out. Ashley Gonzalez is a representative of the Hispanic community. She's representative of a community that let her go unchecked up until now. And even now, y'all aren't checking her. You're just ostracizing her. Oh, we don't claim her. Oh, she's not a part of us.